In this video you are going to learn 7 tips that can dramatically improve your rating in Blitz and Bullet games. So without further ado, let's start it. The first tip is never give up. As you can see here in this position, we have a position from Garry Kasparov with white pieces and Kirill Georgiev with black. They played in a Blitz championship in 1988. And here Garry with white pieces created a new queen, king b4, a check here, bishop d5, king a6, queen c5, and now it's a stalemate. And here you can see Kasparov's reaction. And stalemate is when you are not attacking the enemy king and cannot go anywhere. The correct move here is to play queen b4, for example, because the king is squeezed. The only available square is this one, and after that we have the checkmate. This can happen actually in Blitz games, but don't do that in real tournaments. For example, you can see here in position from my own game. I played a real tournament. I had approximately 40 minutes here. My opponent has approximately 5, something like that. And shameless, he played this move knight e3. He would like to avoid the checkmate, of course. Here he cannot go anywhere because we're threatening another checkmate with the rook. But it's a good time to resign, right? Because I had many time to think my moves, and he just played that one. He don't like actually to resign here, and after this he continued playing. He played that move, and in order to create something he has to play h5, capture here, capture there, in order to give a check. But I have so many pieces and I played that move, he played there, and after that check he resigned right now. This is extremely bad, because if your opponent creates a good combination, for example, you can leave him perform it on the game. But don't resign in this situation, because after this it is a checkmate. You are a tournament player and you cannot see a move ahead. It's very bad. Tip number 2. Don't assume when pre-moving. What is pre-move? Pre-move is when you play a move, for example, like that, and instantly, without your opponent reply, you can play another move in a row, something like this. And you can do that in these online platforms like chess.com or Lichess or any other. You can do it, but don't assume, don't guess your opponent moves. For example, here after d5, the most common move for white is c4, and here normally black can play this queen's gambit decline with this move e6. But if you are black and after d4 and d5 you are pre-moving this move e6, it's a terrible blunder. It could be a terrible blunder, because in many cases white can play something like that. It's the Trombovsky attack, and after e6 you can lose your queen. And you think this is not happening in the real games. Here I'm providing you a picture from Lichess, and you can see the statistics. Approximately 50,000 people, 50,000 games played in this particular move, as you can see, e6, and black lost the game instantly. For that reason, you should not play like that.
Ho ho! Like time!
Another common pre-move is here on King's Gambit for King's Indian defense, for example. After g6, the most normal move for white here is knight c3, and here he is waiting d6, for example, or d5, the Grunfeld defense. And for example, after that we can play e4, d6, and this is normal King's Indian defense. And here, if white is a tricky player, or if you are just pre-moving all of your moves, for example, knight f6, here knight f6, g6, and after that you are pre-moving bishop d7, something like that could happen. A tricky move like bishop h6. I saw this happen many times, and after bishop to d7 you can lose the bishop. The next tip is avoid the mainstream theory. If you are a good player, or if you are testing a new opening system, then you can go ahead and play that. But if you are not very familiar with the theory, you should not play the main lines, and for example after e4 we can play something like d5. The most common moves here is c5 or e5, very nice, very sound moves, but you can try something like d5. I have lessons about that. You can improve your knowledge a lot. It's very easy to play the Scandinavian defense in Blitz, bullet, or even in a classical game. It's a very sound opening actually, but it's not the mainstream theory. This is one line. For example, if you just play d4, you have many lines like Queen's Gambit as we just saw, but you have something simple and very aggressive. This is Benko. And after c4, c5, immediately attacking. d5, b5, you are sacrificing a pawn in order to get the initiative. Very easy to play with the black, and I'm suggesting you to choose this one. And now let's flip the board and let's imagine that you have the white pieces. One of the most common moves is here c5, for example, and here on c5 you have a lot of options and a lot of theory, but I suggest not going into the deep theoretical lines here, but you can choose something else. Knight c3, knight c6 and f4, the Grand Prix attack. You can create an attack here very easily, and many times you can checkmate your opponent. At this point I'd like to talk about the chess opening package, which contains Scandinavian defense, Grand Prix attack and Benko Gambit. If you click in any of those links, you can see the detailed curriculum of the lessons. Each course contains theoretical videos and analyzed games. In total we have 46 theoretical videos, which are more than 11 hours, and approximately 200 analyzed games. Only 1 hour of a professional trainer cost approximately 20 euros, and you can see here the outstanding final price of this package. If you're interested and you'd like to own this package, then you can click the link in the description of that video. Tip number 4, be a gangster. Do you think that a gangster going to his work every morning, hit his cart and then going back to his home? No, he is trying to create problems, and this is what you should do in order to win more games. This is another game. Here we can see Nakamura played with the black pieces, and the most players here, what he's going to do. The most natural move in the world is to capture that knight, for example. Let's examine, and after this we can play something like that, attacking the queen, queen e5, and probably here we're going to exchange the queens, the rooks, and the game could end up in a draw. Nothing wrong with that, but you should be a gangster and you should create problems, be a troublemaker. For example, knight d5. We are attacking the queen, as you can see, and we are keeping pieces on the board. After this, he played f5. This is a very double-edged move because he's attacking the knight, but you are creating problems. You have a permanent weakness here on e6, but actually your opponent don't have the activity and good pieces in order to attack this weakness. And especially in Blitz, you should play aggressively, attacking the knight, knight g3, and knight here, attacking the queen. Here, knight f4, attacking on g2. You see, in every move he's attacking. Knight d4, and now he played a very nice prophylactic move. This is very important to create this prophylaxis to prevent opponent's threats, because usually players look only his own board and don't care about opponent's threats. But it's very important, if you'd like to improve yourself, to care about your opponent. Play something like a6, and now he cannot jump there. Prophylaxis, it's like cleaning your teeth. So you should clean your teeth in order to avoid going on the dentist. And after this, he played this one. Now we have c4, rook d7. Okay, sometimes we should go back. Knight there, exchanges here, knight on the file, very nice move, knight c3. And now, what are you going to do? Another small question. And you should be a gangster. Knight d3. Don't just exchange the pieces. Keep the pieces on the board. The knight is very active there, the pawn is under attack. Maybe he can play something like that to increase the pressure on f2, and you can see he is creating problems. And here, for example, after b3, this didn't happen during the game, we can play queen e5, attacking the knight. King c2, a check. King here, rook d3, attacking the queen, attacking the knight. The rook is overprotected by his pieces, and black is winning here. During the game he just played rook d2, actually he lost the pawn, and soon after that move he played this one. Now he would like to exchange the pieces, and after these exchanges actually he captured there, he lost the queen and the game.
Oh!
The next tip, number 5, is keep your mouse clean, because if your mouse is not clean or fast, many accidents could happen.
It's good. It's queen b6 take. Oh my god. Oh, come on, mouse. Come on. Wake up, you stupid mouse. Wake up.
The next tip, number 6, is think in critical positions. What is the critical position? We can see a game here. We have this move, Alekainen. Here again, you see white is avoiding the mainstream opening. The mainstream opening is e5, try to attack the knight instantly, but here inviting black to go in the Scandinavian defense with d5. And here he didn't just capture there the Scandinavian, but he played the French defense, e5, knight there, d4. We have this, and both players are trying to develop their pieces. This is normal, and this is not a critical line. Critical moment or critical line is when you have a lot of options, and you should have these options 1, 2 or 3 times in your games. If every move is critical for you, then something is wrong, and we should fix that. So we are continuing here. He played this one, developing this overprotecting this e5 square. Play like Karpov. You should overprotect your pieces and pawns in order not to lose them. Very, very important. In e6, takes, bishop d3, short castling, and here we have a very typical combination. And it's a very nice moment here to take a little pause actually and think during your games. You should not play fast every move, because if you just play castling here, it's nothing bad with castling, but you're going to lose something. Maybe you're going to lose a winning continuation, and here the winning continuation is bishop takes h7, the Greek sacrifice or bishop sacrifice. Takes, check, he went back, and now queen h5. Threatening checkmate simply, and now he played rook e8. Here it's a very nice diagram for you, a very critical moment. What are you going to do? You have some options, please take your time, it's white's turn. And the correct move, as we're going to see, if you find it, congratulations, is queen takes f7 very, very nicely. Because if you just give some random checks like this, he can run away. We have another check, he went here, queen g7, threatening checkmate, but here he is just in time to play rook f8. And white is not winning, maybe he is losing here, right? So the correct move is first to take on f7, check, clearing that square, and after this we are continuing with the same checks here, but you can see the f7 pawn is missing, so queen takes g7 is a checkmate. And thank you very much for being so active and and watch very carefully the entire video. Here it's the tip number 7. Simplify when you are material up or down on time. This is a position with Hikaru Nakamura with white pieces, and here the best move according to the computer is c5. But it's a little complicated, you would like to play something like c6 and things like that, but Hikaru played queen d7, explanation mark. Not the best move according to the computer, but he's try to protect that pawn, and he's threatening queen c8. For example, if black played something like that, we have this check, he can capture, we can recapture, there, checkmate. This is a threat actually. So during the game he just take here on b7, and now we have exchanges. Takes, and this position after b5 is easily winning with white. After f6 we have a very simple plan. We should remaneuver our pieces in order to free our powerful passed pawn. For example, here, there, and now you see knight a5. The rook has some problems to stay here in this file, and white will start promoting that pawn, start pushing this forward and promoting this at the end. After this here, the rook has to go away, and you can see the pawn is running. He played g5, we have a new queen, and after these exchanges we have 2 pieces for the pawns. So it's easier, the moves are easier for us to play. This one we have that, attacking the pawn, and after d5 he created a new pawn. So the task is to clean this road right now to promote that pawn. And here we have knight a5 again, you can see he's protecting that square, so the king cannot approach the pawn, and after this check and put the bishop in a very active square. And after that he played knight c4 with the idea to give a check here on b6, and after that start pushing the pawn forward.
Thanks for your time and I hope you enjoyed the video. Here it's time for action. This is the initial page of my website and here you can click Give me access to get access to free lessons. You can read this page and if you scroll down, here you can add your name and your email. After that, you're going to take a free lesson how to avoid chess blunders. So, time for action is now and you're very welcome to join my mail list.